Breck Rice, I am been in healthcare now for about 20 years. During the pandemic, it's like a lot of people, we had to make some adjustments. 10 years prior, we were helping community pharmacies across the United States. But during the pandemic, some of the pharmacies were struggling, and so we started moving into some other clinical services, did COVID testing, which was a natural fit during that period, which then took us into other clinical services like pharmacogenomics or doing DNA testing, which got us really excited about the opportunities that brings, not just for the pharmacy, but it's tremendous insight for patients. It's estimated that 90% of patients have a gene marker that doesn't allow them to metabolize medications that they're prescribed. Think about that for a minute. We have thousands and thousands of patients taking medications that aren't even giving them the effects of what those medications were developed for. But unfortunately, they get all of the bad side effects. So they're getting all the bad, but they're not getting any of the good. And so that kind of took us into this whole new realm of pharmacogenomics and DNA testing to de-prescribe medications that aren't working and look at doing something different. I came across a medical device that is getting to the root cause or helping patients get to the root cause of disease states with microcirculation. If you look at the 45,000 different diseases that there are, the identified diseases, microcirculation or the lack thereof creates dead cells. Those cells die off and become inflamed, and that's where inflammation comes from. And 93% of diseases originate from inflammation. If we're able to prevent that or reverse that with patients, then we're going to have a lot healthier patients, and they also live longer too. Created this whole health hub that we can just drop right into these community pharmacies to better serve patients and not just help those patients feel better, but actually get better. Now it's just directing the patients to these services and letting patients know there are some good non-invasive alternatives to getting prescribed another medication. It's actually technology that's been around for 23 years, being used all over in Europe. And then here in the United States, it's been used for quite a few years, but in the fringes, only maybe the rich and famous could afford it. So you've got a lot of professional athletes. There's actually over 1,000 professional athletes that use this technology. The ambassador is a world champion pickleball player, and Mike Weir is won the Masters. He's another evangelist to this bioelectromagnetic energy. I actually stumbled across it about 6 years ago. My own niece had gone through some really bad chemo and radiation treatment for a brain tumor that she had as a teenager. And they completely removed what they could of the tumor, but then she had to have all the treatments because it had spread. And St. Jude Children's Hospital out in Memphis, they completely cured her of the cancer, but with that radiation treatment came a lot of side effects. So she had a lot of scarring, scar tissue internally. Part of that side effect was that her lungs were completely closed off. It was hard for her to breathe without the assistance of oxygen. As she got a little older, she was just on oxygen constantly. She just had to have it to survive. And this bioelectromagnetic energy was able to open up her lungs and allow her to get more oxygen, opened up her vessels to move oxygen through the blood as well, and was able to open up that perfusion for her. She called it her magic box. So that was my first experience with that technology, but it hadn't been approved by the FDA yet. Just in 2021, a device manufactured out of Germany received FDA Class 2 approval. And that's important to us in the clinical setting because we need it to be approved by the FDA so that we can bill insurance. We can bill Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE. We can bill all the commercial health plans, all of them now, because it has this FDA approval. What's so unique about this particular system is, comparative studies. So an independent comparative study that showed all of these bioelectronic medical devices. They put patients on all different types that were out in the industry for the first day, and you saw the uptake in oxygen utilization, first day, second day, third day, and then on the fourth day, they took all the patients off. And the device that we're using not only outperformed all the other devices by 300%. When they took all the patients off, all the other competitors dropped down to zero. The device that we are using dropped down. Its lowest point was still higher than the highest point of the next best system. So probably one of the reasons why the FDA finally approved this particular device. It's microcirculation. The capillaries open up and you're getting more nutrients, more oxygen. And then the other benefit obviously is taking all the bulk waste out as well. We even have a provider in the Phoenix area that is using the technology. They run an addiction recovery clinic. And so they use the technology to flush out the liver. It's going to be big business in the future. There's a joint venture between Google and GlaxoSmithKline. So it's like big tech and big pharma getting together to develop more bioelectronics. And we have access to the first one that has that FDA approval. And there's patents in place to protect the particular frequency that's used that outperforms the other devices out there. So we feel pretty good about the positioning that we have. But it makes you wonder, why has it taken 20 years to come to the U.S.? It's been used over in Europe. Even poor countries like Hungary put this exact same technology in their hospitals. They put it in the baby's incubators. That's how safe and non-invasive that a premature baby is utilizing these bioelectronics to help them mature and their lungs develop enough to be able to survive outside of that protected incubator. I can tell you the professional athletes use it. They use it for strength and conditioning. It gives them an uptick in energy. ATP is increased by 22%. Muscle strengthening, which is a huge benefit for our seniors. We work with a lot of elderly patients that are on too many medications, and so part of the process is de-prescribing, getting them off of medications that aren't really working for them, doing them more harm than good, and then strengthening their muscles and preventing falls. More energy, stamina. There's a sleep mode to help people relax and actually sleep better. One side, you're getting more energy, but then you're also getting more relaxation and sleep therapy. There's different settings. I got introduced to you through a networking group, and the last place I thought an old guy like me would ever be on is TikTok. It just doesn't seem like a good platform for an old guy. But that was the old TikTok, right? That was the dancing teenagers. And so that really wasn't a place for me. But for business, I'm pretty active on other platforms. I've probably been on LinkedIn for 8 or 9 years. I was a very early adopter on LinkedIn and have thousands and thousands of community pharmacy contacts and other business contacts that I'm linked with or connected with. When you and I talked about, hey, this would be a good platform for using it for business, I specifically focused on the Fountain of Youth or the Foy therapy program. So these little health hubs and that concept. I didn't even talk about all the other pharmacy services that I do. I just really started to focus in on this is what we want to accomplish with the Fountain of Youth or the Foy, F-O-Y therapy. Prior to the pandemic, I actually had a social media marketing manager. They did that full time. We had to tighten our belt during the pandemic, and our marketing department was let go. And all of that kind of fell on my shoulders to, hey, keep up with this. I was trying to be diligent and making 2 or 3 posts a day and trying to at least just get content out there. I'd get excited if there were 200 or 300 views. It just took a little bit of time, a little bit of tweaking to finally get something that really, really resonated with people that were watching the videos.
How did I help you in those initial stages?
Everything. I was a complete newbie. I didn't even know how to set up my profile to even posting the first video and then getting into the creator tools. And you provided this amazing service where you carve out an entire hour every day of the week. Even if I had other things going on, I would multitask and just at least tune in and listen in. And I'd always get some little nugget. Oh, I should try it. I'm not tech savvy enough, like a lot of our younger generation, to go in and just play around with all the different creator tools. And so to get those little nuggets from you and the group, when they say, hey, this is what I do, those have been really helpful. Like I would have never been able to figure out a duet or a stitch or do a green screen, none of that without your direction. And then come to think of it, I would have never signed up to take advantage of the Creator Fund. That's been fun to see that tick up. It's not just pennies a day anymore. It's dollars a day that is being generated from being a part of the Creator Fund. I'm sure I would have stayed consistent, at least posting something, but it would have not gotten anywhere near the number of views or the number of followers doing it on my own. Looking at others, you can going through and you're looking at other people's posts and you can see that they just don't have the same guidance that our group has gotten from you. So that's been pretty exciting to see, okay, these techniques really work. I was excited just to get 300 or 400 views, but then occasionally I might even get a couple of thousand, 2,500. And we're getting excited about those numbers where the video was really getting either saved as a favorite or shared. What took me 7-8 years to build. I had that many followers on TikTok in 2 months, and then it just escalated from there. A couple of weeks ago, I used the strategies that we talked about, and that's the one that really went viral. I'd had some others hit in the thousands. I'd even built up to where after several weeks, it would get up to 200,000. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. But in literally 2 days, I'd hit 2 million with this one post from 2 weeks ago. And then I was also savvy enough to direct people that, hey, I'm only giving you the top 10. There's still another 100. For a complete list, go to our Facebook group, and the link is in our bio. And that simple direction had 600-700 people wanting to join that Facebook group. One video now is up to over 2.5 million. I'm up to 69,000 followers. Excited to hit the 100,000 mark.
Any advice for businesses on the fence about using TikTok?
I tell businesses all the time they need to contact Alex Hitt, because if they're afraid to get on that platform that seems like it's just a young person's platform, that you've got some great advice for them and some just overall setup and utilization of the tools.
How do they connect with you? How do they learn more about what you're doing?
Please follow the Healthcare Disruptor. Ask to join the Healthcare Disruptors Facebook group. On TikTok, it's the Healthcare_Disruptor, or Full Weight Therapy. And my email also is just my first name, Breck, BRECK, @serve.com.
We'll put all that information below this video. Thanks for being on the podcast today, Breck.
Hey, thank you, Alex.